Well, topic number three, the getting to know you topic. I don't really even know what to call it. Film production,
Yeah,
production
video
coordinator.
production. Oh
Eh,
yeah, I coordinate. I'm a production coordinator. That's
Production.
what I
So
do.
so we touched on it a little bit at the beginning of the show. But
Yeah.
you're out in LA. You do production work
Mhm.
for you have bounced around from kind of company to company.
Yes.
Currently, you're working
I'm
for
a
Legendary,
freelancer.
working on a couple Nerdist shows.
Mhm.
So tell me what you do in that capacity. Tell me what that life is like.
What that life is like. So I moved out here last year, last January. So right when Kind of Funny was happening or becoming a thing, I was moving out to LA. So their anniversaries like my California anniversary, my LA anniversary. As long as they've been a company, I've been out here. But uh, this I came out here without a job because it's pretty much impossible. You'd have to be really lucky to have a job before you come out here. Just like know someone
Yeah.
that could have provided that for you. So I knew Kentucky wasn't happening. Like I'm not gonna be in news my whole life. So moved out here on my own with my friend Jordan, and we both didn't have jobs. We just like went for it. And so a lot of like what I do, it's all freelance based. You don't I shouldn't say all. The majority of it is freelance based. So you work on a project for a couple of months and then you're unemployed again until the next thing comes along. And my first year was just me doing like day jobs or week jobs, like just taking whatever I can get and just making those contacts really. So like I got my first job, and then like the people I met on that show, I only was there for like 3 weeks, and the people I met there is what continued me for all my future jobs. So because the industry is very much who you know,
Yeah.
it resumes don't. I mean, they exist. Like people like to see them, but it's really just you get a phone call and you're like, I need a PA to come in, or like with my job at Nerdist, my friend's boyfriend was the show producer, is a show producer over there for these two shows, and they needed a coordinator, and he knew I coordinated, and he knew that I knew Twitch and this gaming stuff, so he's like, you'd be perfect for it. So he just called me and I'm like, hey, I need someone. So there's like no interview process. He just told me what it was about to see if he just like, do you think you could handle that? And like, would you be interested in doing that? I was like, fuck yeah, it's Nerdist. I'm all for it. So it's good. I've been very proud of what I've been able to accomplish in the 2 years I've been out here. Because a lot of times they like to say you should only PA for like a year before you move up. But that's a very lucky case. Like, you really, a lot of times PAs will be PAs for a couple of years. But I pretty much I PA'd, I mean, all last year, but it was in very spur of the moments. And then I PA'd on my first job this year for 5 months. And that's when I told myself that I was done PAing. I am over it. I am worth so much more. And I just wanted to use my brain. I don't know. I was just like, I was over just doing like silly work that like a monkey could do. Like, just
And
anyone could
that's
do it. And I didn't. I
Yeah,
was done
so
with it.
just for those less industry folk, PA production assistant,
Oh, yeah, production
you're just
system.
kind of
Sorry.
like a
Yeah, they're
catch-all.
the
You
lowest of the
do
low.
whatever is
Anyone can be a
needed.
PA. Yeah.
You go grab coffee.
You grab the coffee, you do whatever. You do whatever they tell you to do. So that's just how everyone starts out as a PA though. Like you'll see EPs, they start as a PA. Everyone started out this way, but anyone can do it. And so it's a great learning experience to be like during your PA, because I came out here not really knowing what the industry, how it exactly worked, what jobs there were, where I personally fell into the whole production sphere. So it allowed me to find that I wanted to coordinate. I wanted to go that route of the more organizational. Like I'm not super creative, so like producing isn't really
Nonsense.
so producing isn't really in my ballpark. So like EP and everything, that's just like not really me. But I am, and I'm not going to be a DP, which is a director of photography. They're like the highest of the high camera wise, and they're the director pretty much. But they also film. So like I'm not going to do camera work. I'm not going to do audio work. I'm not really interested being out on the field, because typically the field means that you are working for 12 hours a day, so 60 hours a week. And that's what I did like the first 5 months of this year, and I was very tired all the time, and I just really I had experienced like office work like last year for like a month, and I just much preferred it. Just having like a normal life. So that's where I kind of eventually decided that production coordinating would be my path. And that's just like, that's the next step after PAing is like coordinating. And then I could potentially become like a production manager and then a line producer that just handles the budget and everything else. So it's just, I just found that being the organizational one is where I fell in the umbrella of production. So that at least allowed me to do that. So once I decided that's what I wanted to do, and a lot of people will be like, oh, really? You want to coordinate? Like, because coordinating, like, it's a lot of crap. Like, you have to do a lot of, like, work.
It's not the glamorous.
Yeah, it's not
stuff.
the most glamorous.
It's the booking flights and stuff like that.
Yeah, right? And it's like, and just production
dealing with uppity reality stars.
And it's just like production side of things in general. Like, so the part of the umbrella I want to be a part of, like that part, which is like tends to be the production. Like, there's the producing side, there's the production side. So like we're like the production side, which is like production coordinator, production manager, line producer. It's like that's the tier. Like, we are what gets shit on the most. Technically, like everything, just like the producer asks you, they want to do something, you have to say yes. Like, you will make it happen. Like, you will tell them it's going to cost you this much. It usually takes 5 days to get a permit. You want it tomorrow. We'll see. Like, you always have to just, like, smile and nod. And you're the ones that will get the most fucked. So, it's hard. I have not experienced that over at Nerdist, though. It's a completely different world at Nerdist, and I love it. But, like, my last show was a nightmare. Because that's just what... And that's just, like... That might just be like the Bachelor world. I don't know. Or just like reality in general. But, because I've worked primarily on reality TV. And then, I mean, that's all I've done until now. So, or game shows. I kind of count that as reality. It's not scripted. I've focused mostly on unscripted, or solely on unscripted. Not by choice, just because that's just where my contacts were. Mm-hmm. And that's just where I am today. And so I did a Bachelor spinoff was my last show, and that was the worst show. My PM, so my boss, my production manager, he has been in the industry for like 9 years now, and he said it is the worst show that he's ever worked on. I don't know if I should be saying this, but
I mean, let me know if you need me to cut some of this stuff out.
Fair man. No, it's fine. Everyone knows it. But it's just like it was
just in case one of the 20 people that watches this video
is the EP of NCK production. Yeah. Next Entertainment, that would be horrible. You guys were nice. It's fine. Don't hate me. But no, it wasn't anyone's like particular fault. It was just like hard because our entire creative had to be changed the week before filming. So it was like, as if all of our pre-production that we were ready and good to go was just like burned in a fire and just swept away by a tornado. It was just done. It was no more. And so we essentially had to film while also creating a creative for the show. And yes, it's reality. There's no scripts in reality. No. You know, you gotta...
People know the story they want to tell.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got to make it interesting. There's some of their scripts. It's just there are stories you want to tell. So it's just a lot of having to do that. So that just kind of set a bad note for the show, um, and it just made it hard to catch up. So it just became like a very, and it was also the pilot. So the pilot seasons of shows just are always going to be the worst shows because everyone's learning how the show should be ran, et cetera, et cetera. I did a ton of travel, which like the Bachelor and Bachelorette, they have their own specific travel coordinators, and they have like four of them. So, and then their own specific like production coordinators, which they had a ton of. So like I was just the sole production coordinator that also did travel. And so I'd be flying like 20 crew members and like cast members, and it ended up being a whole lot more work for like, or just a whole lot of work for one person to handle. And it got to the point where I just didn't have enough time in the day to do everything. I'd be working on the weekends. I'd be working until 10 p.m., get in the office at 7 a.m. Because there got to the point, like the last, like month of the show, I like just disappeared off the internet. Like I could barely sleep. I did not feel good. I would go to work. There was one time I went to work in like leggings and a hoodie because I fully believed I would be sleeping there that night. Because I was just like, I need to get the stuff done tonight, and I can't see myself even doing that. And it's like not going to be worth me driving all the way back up, only to drive down in like 2 hours. Like, and I remember being my line producer, my boss's boss, so my boss, but he called me just like to check up on it because I was the only one in the office because everyone was out on the field, and I just mentioned I was like, yeah, I'm just probably gonna be sleeping here tonight. He's like, I think you're being a little dramatic. And I was like, I just can't see myself like doing all this. I can't. And so I did not sleep there that night. But I think I just said fuck it that day. I just didn't do what I needed to do. I just like, I couldn't. I was like, they'll just have to wait till tomorrow. Because like we would be traveling. I had to book everyone's flight. So I had like 200 emails in my like inbox. It was just flights. But then you also have to make like little travel memos for each individual person so they knew their confirmation number. So that's what I had to like do and get out like in a timely manner before their flights. Mm-hmm. And so it's just, I think that if they do that show again, they'll need like a solely travel coordinator. Because like on top of that, I'm still having to like also production coordinate as well. So just like there needs to be a separation. So it's just that show. I was very glad to leave and move on to Nerdist.
And so production coordination in that context of the spin-off show, the reality show. So you're dealing with travel coordinating, production coordination being like getting permits, getting like deals with the places you're going to shoot, right?
It's just this show, like, to be honest, like positions kind of vary depending on what company you're working for and what shows you work for. It's just like you could be, you could be doing completely different things. So like this particular show, like I was doing travel, and I would set up all of like our accounts or whatever. I would PO everything, which is purchase orders. So every time we bought something big, like all the flights, they had to be put into the system. So everything would be funneled to me receipt wise, and I'd have to funnel them in. I'd be the main person like talking with accounting and things like that. So it was just a lot of that. And so like when, I messed with W-9s and all this stuff, and when like we needed like a storage unit to store things, like I'm figuring that out and everything else. So it's just like the little nitty gritty things. But like, so you do all that, but like at Nerdist, I don't do any of that. Like I'm now doing like call sheets and schedules, which is what like my PM did on my last show. Like I'm doing call sheets, schedules. I'm still handling receipts, but I don't do anything purchase order wise. I just hold on to them and I give them to the legendary PM, production manager, who has all the statements and just checks them. But so I'm doing more of a PM job. I do like I'm also handling the budget, which is usually just the line producer. So at Nerdist, I'm like the sole for my shows at least, I'm the sole production coordinator. And really just like, or not production coordinator, the sole like production person. So I'm kind of doing all three jobs. Like I'm line producing, I'm production managing, and I'm production coordinating. But it's so little that like it's still
a
much
smaller.
Like it's a much smaller scale to where it's like I'm still doing less work than like I was just the one job in my other show. So Legendaries or Nerdist and Geek and Sundry in general are interesting because we actually have a pretty big team. When a lot of times like their shows, it's just like their in-house. They have like an in-house crew and like a couple of EPs and creative producers that do all the things. Like, but because we are with their new Alpha channel, they're like putting more money towards that, and so they're wanting like, and because they're having people pay for it, they're wanting the productions to be of a higher quality. So we actually have a team. So like, I don't even know if there are coordinators at Nerdist or Geek and Sundry. Like typically, to be honest with you, it really just might be. I mean, everything there. So it's kind of the same thing. Like you have your Nerdist news. So it's just like the news stuff. I don't know who plans that and like puts the news together. You have Nerdist News Talks Back, and they do Critical Role, which is just like Geek and Sundry's all just playing games. So there's not too much to it. While both of our shows are scripted, so we have 2 writers that write for us. We have 2 PAs. We have 2 associate producers. I'm the coordinator. There's 2 show producers. Like, so we're actually a really big staff, and so it really just depends on where you are, what your job actually entails. You kind of have to like. It was easy enough to like on my resume just to have like I PA'd on these things. Because PA just means the same. Like it's just like you're the fucking bus boy over here just doing whatever the hell. But coordinating, I actually kind of need to put on each show what I actually did and what experience I actually have. So it's one of those things. It's been my life just in general has been very interesting. Coordinating, I'm enjoying it. I do like coordinating a lot. But I hope to like, I guess go further. But I could see myself coordinating for a while. I don't have to move up right away, unlike PA, and I was done with that. I was over it. I was ready to like actually do something with my degree. So it was good.
And that's so yeah. I mean, like going back. You got a degree in what's your degree in? Film?
Media arts.
Media arts. Okay. Mm-hmm. So like you got that. You wanted to work in production.
Yeah,
in some way, but you like you said, you didn't really know when you went out to LA what you were like, what path you wanted to take. Mm-hmm. So kind of what was the like what was it like in those early days where it was like, okay, you're gonna PA because that's what everybody does,
right?
But did you have like an idea of anything you wanted to kind of drive towards at that point, and then you just kind of pivoted and fell into
coordination?
I
mean, I knew that I thought about producing for a while, but like. Eventually, I was just like, no, I just can't. I was like, I knew there had to be like something like that would cater to me. Like I think for a while I thought that I might actually just do camera work, or edit. I think I thought about editing for a while because I really enjoy post production. And I could still do that. I could do post coordinating if I really wanted to. But like I would enjoy editing. But yeah, I think just the more. So it was nerve-wracking because I felt kind of on a time clock. Like, not really, but just like I wanted to do more with my life than PA. So it's just like I need to make up my mind on what I want to do. And like, but what's great about the industry is that I could coordinate here and not like it and just jump to something else because of the freelance nature. You're just on a show for everything's temporary. So you're not like tied down to something to where it's going to be a big deal if you quit. Like if you don't like something, you just finish it out, you make a note never to do it again, and then you just try and see if you can get a job doing something else to where you can at least hop around. And see, a lot of people do that. A lot of people will just like our DP on one of our shows, he does post-production for House of Cards, and so he just like, he doesn't mix, he does both camera work, and he likes post-production more, but he likes just the small mix of camera stuff. So because I was talking to him about him actually last week about that. And it's cool that you really don't, I mean, it depends. Like, you don't have to commit to one thing. You can actually do a couple different things if your schedule allows it. Like, you could DP one day for a shoot, and then, like, you could cop on for, like, post work for a week or something like that. So you actually, like, don't have to commit, which is nice. So that's why I kind of just jumped into coordinating, because it seemed like something I would like to do. It seemed up my alley, at least. And luckily it is. I really like it a lot. And it's just like, now it's me trying to figure out the content I want to, like it sucks, like my last show taught me that, like, it sucks to be working on a show you just don't give two shits about. Like, I don't care about the content. It's cool seeing my name in the credits, but it's just like, in the end, I'm not watching that. Like, I don't even care to turn it on Hulu. So that's why, like, every time I kind of achieve my focus, I jump to something new that I want to start achieving towards. So, like, I've achieved the coordinating. Hopefully I can continue to coordinate. I don't have the PA ever again. But now I'm starting to focus on content, like the content I want to coordinate for. Like, it's hard to, because you don't really have a choice. You just kind of take the jobs. But, like,
yeah, I mean, I totally get that, because I'm sitting here thinking, like, when I started acting, for example, like, I would just take whatever roles were offered to me. But then I got to a certain point where I was like, I don't need to take this role. And so, like, I would set my own metrics of, like, okay, like, I'm going to do a show either because I want to work with the people that are working on it, or because it's a role I want to do, or because the money's good.
Right.
Like, and usually it needed to be, like, at least two of those three things for me to actually say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and commit to it.
Right. Exactly.
And like, I mean, like, it was not my job. It's not, like, it was the thing I did in my free time. But that's certainly kind of where I got to in my passion for that. Whereas, like, I can't waste my time doing things I don't want to do. The one time I ever quit a show, we were like a week or two into rehearsals. I had just gotten out of a bad experience that I'd done with friends, but, like, I just didn't like the show, and so I went right into this other thing. And a week in, I'm, like, butting heads with the director, and we have, like, very different, like, interpretations of the character. And so I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and like, it would be best for the production for me to walk away from this. And so I quit, and I mean, she, like, she understandably, like, she hates me now or whatever, and
burn the ties.
We never worked together again, and wouldn't and like, I knew when I was making that decision for myself to basically say, I'm not going to drive half an hour out of my way to do this thing that I don't want to do. That, like, I knew that quitting that was going to take away from some other opportunities, but I also, like, said, like, my time is valuable. I'm gonna go ahead and make the most of it. So I totally get kind of where you're going in that. I also get, though, that, like, when it is your career, sometimes you don't have that luxury. You
right,
have
exactly.
To take the shit jobs to get by.
And it's also, you don't want to say no a lot of times, because you never know who you're going to meet at that next job that can lead you to.
I was, you know, well established in my community
right.
at this point.
I had
2 or 3 other theaters that, like, if I bailed on this one, it wasn't going to affect anything I was doing with any of those other companies. It was really just, like, this one person was gonna not, like, invite me to do readings and stuff anymore.
Right.
Like, okay, that's fine.
It's good, it's fine. No, so
that's the sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Right. And because this industry's literally purely who you know, it's good. Like, you don't have to say, like, yes to everything. I know my friend, he, like, really wanted to, like, work in scripted, so he would say no to things. Like, I'm not taking the next show I'm going to do is scripted. So he, like, finally, and he's got it, he's doing it. So sometimes you just have to make those, because if you do pick up like, you always run to the risk of, like, taking a job and then getting offered, like, a better job, like, 3 weeks later, and it sucks because like you don't want to burn any bridges, so you just kind of have to keep your other job for a bit. But no, working for Nerdist and Geek and Sundry has like given me a glimpse of the dream, I guess I should say. It's just
like definitely when you started there was like a new pep in your step.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, yeah, once I was out of the hellhole, but it's just it's been, I was talking to my friend today about it actually, because the shows, like technically we just got extended 2 more weeks for our shows, so 2 more episodes of each, so it's like mid-February that we go till, and it's just like we can still keep, like, you can be optimistic and like see if they keep extending whatever or whatever, but it's just like at this point I can't even, like, I guess I'm choosing not to think about it ending because it's like so great, like it's such a great job to where it's gonna suck a lot to have to go back to like reality or something like when it ends, because I've gotten like a glimpse of the whole, like, just working in this kind of content and actually enjoying what I like, and just being, it's a pretty easy gig, like, especially compared to like my other show where I was just constantly working. Like, I can actually check Facebook during the day and actually like breathe, unlike I could like at my last job. And so it's like, it can be bittersweet that way. So like freelancing's nice because you get to like hop around and everything, but then it just really sucks when you find something you really, really love, but you can't stay, you know? So, and companies, I would like to eventually like get full time with a company. So it'd be cool if I can get full time with like Legendary. And there's always, I mean, they're always doing projects, and especially with Alpha, they're gonna have to do shows. So who knows? Maybe they'll just, if we like don't continue these shows, they just like move us into like, here's 2 more shows we want to start making, and just keep the same team that does it. So who knows? Like, it could, and I'm meeting great people there. I'm meeting people who know people in the industry and everything else. So
I mean, yeah, you're like Matt Myra.
Yeah, he's nice.
Obviously, like he's done a pretty good job for himself in, I mean,
for
out
Nerdist
of the
and everything.
sphere.
Yeah, and he's a writer for the Goldbergs now. That's what he does. But no, it's just, I've met a lot of cool people working here, and it's so cool being in like an atmosphere and surrounded by people who like the same things as you. Like, you can talk about video games and it's fun. I've gotten like some new shirts because they just have like a box full of Loot Crate stuff, because they get like a lot of the same like boxes, so they just have a box. They're like, we're just gonna throw this away, you want it? Like, yes, I want all of it. Please. So it's cool to be surrounded by that stuff, and it's definitely hitting like an itch, just like now that I know how great it can be, and how, like, you know, I moved, I got happy in my like real life, you know, like my living situation, and now I'm actually like really happy with my work situation, to where like I'm just happy, and like now that I know how that feels, it's gonna keep me like trying hard to contain it, I guess, or keep it.
Keeps you motivated to keep it going.
Definitely keeps me motivated. So I don't know, we'll see.
So with something like Nerdist being, you know, you're there basically until you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Have you, like, are you able to identify other Nerdist like opportunities, or is it like how, like, it seems
really.
very much kind of a like you get what you get from like contacts and stuff from people that you've worked with before.
Yeah.
More so than like seeking out a new opportunity.
Yeah. Well, the thing with like Nerdist, they're just like, they're changing right now. They're growing. So like, they've been used to doing the same stuff all the time. Like, they had a routine. They had their in-house people. Some people were, you know, hired on for a little bit, whatever. But like, we had a meeting at, like, we had our first of the month, you know, meeting or whatever, and the guy who's in charge of LDN, was doing this like speech thing, like the news, like whatever, like Legendary's doing these movies and all this stuff. But he was saying, for the first time, he was just saying how they're growing and how they're expanding, especially with Alpha, having to produce all those shows. Like, this is the first time he can't recognize everyone. So I think for a while it was just much smaller. People knew everyone. You know, you just produced pretty simple shows that, like, they're fun and great, but, like, it didn't require too much manpower because they were able to just produce so many shows with only so many people. So now, so I don't look at that. I don't see a whole lot of opportunity there, but because they are now creating this new paid service, Project Alpha, they are now needing more people, and they are needing content for the show because they are obligated, considering people are paying for it. It's not Critical Role that they just like pop on, you know, people just subscribe for that. But they need to produce content to entice people to join, to keep people there, and to make it seem worth it. So I see opportunity there in the sense that, like, they will always need people to create content for that. So, and they're always going to want it to be of a high quality. So I can see us just like maybe them moving us around in that sense, or I jumping on to like a specific Geek and Sundry role, or like, I don't know. So I see more opportunity in their new like Alpha platform because they're going to need more people. But I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely it has echoes to me of like when IGN and YouTube partnered up and created their Start thing, and that's what led to Up at Noon being like a show for them, and they had a few other shows kind of in that same vein.
Yeah.
And so they brought in, you know, people for that, and then when the contract was done, there were a couple things they kept, and then a couple other things that they that just fell by the wayside because the views weren't there. So I think of that, but I also think of like Rooster Teeth. And like all of the shows and content that they produce for their
Rooster Teeth would be a great company to work for. I'll work for them.
That's so that was kind of what, like, you know, make that connection with Andy Cortez and make a move
Andy,
to Austin.
you don't know me, but
or I mean, like they have.
I know, it's like
Funhouse
someone down the
in
grapevine. Yeah. Oh, it's Funhouse in LA.
I believe Funhouse is based in LA. Yeah. But like and they're under the Rooster Teeth umbrella now, so I imagine Rooster Teeth is coordinating for them, like out of the home office, just like they take on some of the stuff for Kind of Funny at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, true. That's certainly like if you know, I know a lot of stepping back. Well, like I'm thinking like, would you move to like an Austin or like Canada? Because I know a lot of there's a lot of film production stuff up there as well. Or is LA kind of like where you want to be?
Well, no, I would 100%. If it was for a full-time position, I would move. I'm not going to move for like a 6 month. I'm not going to spend the money to like move unless they paid for it. But then I'd have to move back, and that costs money. So it's just I live in LA only because that's where the jobs are.
Where the work is. Okay.
That's where the most of the jobs are. I don't have any particular like connection or attachment to it. I will move wherever.
And then and so the stepping back that I was going to do is, so you've done like unscripted stuff. You're now kind of doing scripted new media stuff.
Yeah.
Is that like, would you have a preference between like film? I hope this doesn't screw something up. My McAfee's like popping up with like, hey, we're going to scan your system.
Oh no. We'll see.
Like film versus TV versus online now, being kind of the new media sense. Do you have like a preference of one of those that you would want to work in? It seems like TV or potentially new media would be the most long-term stuff versus film, which is going to be much more like freelance.
They turn out, unless you work for like a film company.
Unless you're working for a studio that and just kind of managing all of their projects, I imagine. Yeah.
Right. I think I would prefer. Right now, I think I'm would like to work digitally with the new media, just because that's more likely content that I'm going to enjoy. Like TV, I would work scripted too, like a cool scripted show. Like The Office is what got me into this whole thing. I wanted to create something as special as that. Like I wanted to create a show that was special for someone else, that like The Office was special to me. And so I'm not doing that with reality. I can do that with new media. People get really attached to things, and like it helps them through because it's so easy to access. But I would be down to like work Gilmore Girls 2.0, so be totally down for that. But so yeah, it all depends on the project. But right now I see myself focusing towards digital because that's where like a lot of like content I like is like centered around like Rooster Teeth or whatever, so or Nerdist and Geek and Sundry, like they all do, they're just digitally based. So and that's the content I enjoy producing and enjoy sitting in meetings about and talking about, and it's a lot of fun. So that's kind of where I see, but I would totally be down to like do fun scripted shows. I don't know about those weird scripted shows that aren't that great, but I'd be all over it.
Last question I have on the topic, unless you want to kind of cover anything else. Have you met anybody cool, like any real super cool like celebrity people?
I've met a lot of people actually, just through
who
my
are
various.
the coolest?
Well, like even with this job, like because with Sidekick with Matt Myra, we bring on 2 talent every week, and they've all been like our first one was Matt Mercer and Andy Secunda, because they're all just friends of Matt's. So they're they're just doing that, and like we've had some performances. One's called Jenny Owens Young. She's a musician. You can find her on Spotify. She was so cool to meet, and I really, really liked her, and now I listen to her music all the time. But she was so down to earth. I liked her a lot. And the next week we had Kate, I forget her last name, but she was Lucy on The Big Bang Theory, but she performs too, so she did a performance. But just like there's just been a lot of like, we had Kevin Pollak on the other day. Like I've seen a lot of people. Like my first job was Celebrity Name Game with Craig Ferguson, so I've seen Angela Kinsey up close, who's in The Office. She's Angela in The Office. I've seen Kate Flannery, who is Meredith in The Office. So it's like Candace Cameron was on that show. Now she's on Fuller House. I saw, like, I didn't actually know, like, I didn't get to interact with them on that show, unlike, like, at Nerdist, where I am, like, their contact. Like, they call my cell phone and they say, hey, I'm here. So,
nice.
But, yeah, so this, I meet more people around. And, of course, my show goes on right before Critical Role, so I see all those people, and I talk to all of those voice actors who do it. So
that's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. I've not like sat down and talked to many people. Usually I just like let them be, but
yeah, I mean,
just let them be. But I've definitely run into.
You're sucking in their aura.
Yeah, exactly. That's just like I have many heart attacks. Like, this is so fun. I love everything. It's cool. I have yet to see Chris Hardwick. I don't think he works in the building.
Slacker. Always busy with his.
They have a nice. They have a Lego. Like
the Lego Hardwick.
The Lego Hardwick, yeah, that's in the front. So that's always fun.
I definitely don't watch as much as I used to, but I remember when like Nerdist News started up and like I would watch that daily.
You guys can watch Mothership. It's 5:30 on whatever Twitch is, the Nerdist Twitch, and the Geek and Sundry Twitch. Go to the Geek and Sundry Twitch. There's more people because they're all asking where Critical Role is. But yeah, you can watch that 5:30, 6:30, guys. What up,
right.
Thursdays? Only for a couple more weeks. So
there we go.
Yeah,
excellent. Well, very cool. Thank you for kind of telling me, it's nice to get to know a little bit more about like what you're doing in that
What I
regard.
actually do. Yeah, it's like you can't,
the-
it's hard to like my aunt's always like, I just don't understand what you do. Like, especially with Nerdist Geek and Sundry, they're just like, what is that? Like, I'm like,
internet, I don't know. Yeah.
It's like, it's digital content, so it's only on the internet. And my mom's like, is it something I can watch? I'm like, no, your internet's way too slow, too low Twitch. So, no.
Yeah. And it's and just as a like on a personal note, like good for you for getting out there and doing it, because I've known plenty of people who've gone out to LA to try and do stuff in film, and then they become professional
easy.
waiters.
Yeah.
And it's always a little heartbreaking to see kind of the drive that they had when they were here, just kind of like get beat out of them by not finding those opportunities.
Right.
So
Yeah.
congratulations to you on finding the opportunities and
you.
being able to consistently kind of keep them coming in.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yay.
I am
yay.
grateful.
Proud of Beasley.
For money. I do enjoy the money.
The money.
I just like having money in general. Just not being fun employment's only fun occasionally. Only occasionally.
Great. Well then,